Maybe there's a better build with them, but I think they're just a bit high on the curve here. Seems like we want to be lower to the ground. So our options are main deck Consign. I did kind of want the fourth Talisman, because I think the Talismans play pretty well with the Deep-Fiends. We could like main deck one Consign, fourth Talisman. We could play fourth Force of Negation. I do have a backup deck, but I want to play another League of this, because I might want to play this in the challenge tomorrow. Could play Matter Reshaper. We have played Matter Reshaper in the past. It does feel like between Subtlety and Hope-Ender and Riddler that we don't really need more things for the Deep-Fiend to emerge. Could main deck a All Is Dust. Is Ugin's Binding not good enough? I don't think it's very well positioned. We have two Chalice in the main deck. I think two is a number I like in the main. You could maybe play a third. That feels good. Any consideration for Vesuva from where E-Temples you seem choked in man? I would just play a fourth Talisman. I think I'm interested in a fourth Talisman. It's something I did really want when I was working on the deck. It's like just more Talismans. You empty your hand faster for Riddlers. Better against Blood Moon effects. You could just play Devour. I think Devour is not very good overall. You could play one. It'd be weird to just play one. You could play a Sire. Try a Spider Sense. Spider Sense, there's like no way that card's good in this deck, right? Seems like so situational. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Could main deck a Dismember too. I don't think Dismember is super good in the main deck though. I think we'll main deck a Consign. This will help open up the sideboard a bit for our anti-affinity stuff that I want to have. I like Devour, really helps getting rid of Riddler. I don't feel like that's something our deck cares a lot about necessarily. Okay, so I think Dress Down is a card that I think we can cut both Ashiok's for two Dress Downs. Where it seems like a big part of the affinity matchup problemo is Urza Saga. Also removing the ward from Kappa Cannoneer I guess could be relevant. New Ugin. I think New Ugin's really bad if you don't have like green ramp. It's just like not castable because it's not an Eldrazi. Is Hurkyl's Recall our only other option? We could play Chalice. Engineered Explosives. Maybe Explosives is better than Dress Down. We can play Explosives on 0 if we have a Talisman or a Temple or a Lab. Just spin a colorless, then put it into play. Yeah, Dress Down has the added benefit of being good because of Nulldrifter. Yeah, Recall seems solid, but is Hurkyl's how is Recall better than Engineered Explosives? I kind of don't think that it is. Can we play Explosives on 1 against Boros also? I think we can. I think if Explosives on 0s you're playing against Affinity, you're in trouble. Well, maybe. It certainly seems very good against the current builds of Affinity. It kills the Saga tokens in the same way Dress Down does and also cleans up their other stuff. Hurkyl's Recall Recurrence Kappa. Yeah, that's true. I've not played Splash Board with Riddler. You need to be able to play Explosives on 2 for it to make sense. We can play Explosives on 2. We have Talismans. I don't know that that's true that you have to play it on 2. EE seems not great versus Munitions. Well, neither is Recall. Recall's even worse. We could just play a third Dress Down too. Seems like too many. Try Propaganda instead. Is Propaganda symmetrical? I feel like we fight Kappa well. Maybe. So Propaganda. Why is Recall worse? So like you bounce the stuff and then they can just replay and get more munitions. At least when you kill the 0s with Explosives, they don't get a bunch of other 0s to redeploy. It is not symmetrical. Kind of cute. Probably not very good. Could be Secret Sleeper though. Go down on All Is Dust. I think I really want 3 though. Probably have to if we want to respect Affinity more, which I think is probably the priority. Is Hurkyl's Recall the best? Probably. Let's play him. Although I don't know, like an early Explosives also seems really good. Like an early Engineered Explosives, like we can bring in Explosives on 1 or 0 against Boros, and it's like fine early removal. And then Explosives, so like it's a more versatile sideboard card that also. Like, I think this is better at keeping them off of Kappa Cannoneer than... I think this is better at keeping them off Kappa Cannoneer than Hurkyl's Recall is, right? Because we just get to, like, sweep their board and then they just can't get the Cannoneer down. Maybe I haven't been loving the Dismember. The more I'm talking about it, the more I feel like we should maybe just have 3 explosives, 1 dress down. Although then we kind of want the second dress down for Titan. Dispute. I don't think we have the luxury of playing Dispute in our sideboard. Maybe we don't need the Ghost Vacuums though. Like we have Chalice on 2 that we can like lean into against Goryo's. Maybe that's not good. I guess the vacuums are kind of awkward because we want a Chalice on 1 against Goryo's and Boros. Maybe that's just our way to open things up. And then we can play the third All's Dust again, although we're bringing these in against Boros now. Yeah, Boros is on the downturn too. We could play a Surgical instead. Probably not great. But Surgical is better against Titan. Driven Hope-Ender. I'm gonna main deck 4 Hope-Ender. Flute? There's not a lot. I guess Flute is good against like Brood Scale. Cage. We're not really afraid of Neoform. Hope-Ender did not perform. I certainly disagree. We had a lot of just 2 mana 2/2 counter your spell that happened. I would say you didn't watch the whole league if you walked away from that. I think it was bad against the Affinity player. But I think it was great in our first 2 matches. But another thing is if you don't play Hope-Ender, you're not supporting Elder Deep-Fiend, so it's not even really, I think, worth arguing about. Because like if you don't think Hope-Ender is good enough, you don't think this deck is good enough because you can't support the Deep-Fiend without it. I could not lose. I think this card sucks so much. I'm a big time Kaito hater, but I don't want to rain on your parade too much, but I think Kaito is just so. I think that is a card that people really, in their heart of hearts, they want this card to be good so bad. Yeah, it's like a psyop. It's like I want. It feels good when you play it in your head. It's a grindy card that's like awful against Boros energy. It's awful against Prowess. It's awful against Titan. It's like unbelievably bad in these matchups. I think it's bad against Goryo's. Maybe good. Plus counter magic is fine. I think it is just so overrated. So they go Blood Crypt, looting, discard a Mire, discard a looting. Interesting. Do you not want to use the same talisman? Do you not want to use all the same talisman for explosives? We have a Dismember at the board still, right? Seems unlikely we're going to explosive for 3. It could come up though. High Spike with literally no graveyard decks. Are we just abusing the meta, playing Dredge, Oops, and Living End? I mean, Goryo's is still super popular. Titan is also a graveyard deck. We've been playing Dredge with Arc-like Phoenix. That deck's been pretty good. Living End, I think, suffers a lot from the counter magic that exists in the format, like the Vexing Baubles. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that one. But I would say I'd say literally no graveyard decks is probably inaccurate. Can you explain Riddle in this deck? I'm guessing we're not interested in warping plus Deep-Fiend Emerge. You will do that some amount of the time main phase, but also you like Hardcast and Emerge does come up more often than you might expect. Okay. So do I main phase this? My opponent didn't discard a big creature last turn, so I think I am going to main phase this and make spawns so it can hardcast a Nulldrifter. Immediately after we cut the Ghost Vacuums. Although the Chalices will be pretty good against this build. Thank you, Eldrazi Temple. It has hexproof. Doesn't get pinged or bolted or solitude or countered. It's bad versus Prowess and Boros Max. I think it's awful against Titan. And my opponent says Jesus. I mean, I think don't they just take the Nulldrifter? I can't cast the Deep-Fiend. This line was kind of bad against the Thoughtseize. They have a second Frog. Okay, well their hand was about as good as maybe they're just surprised to see my friend here. Against Titan's a fast clock that draws you a card every turn. I think that like as a frog deck, you're kind of naturally good against Titan, but like let's not kid ourselves. It's not a fast clock against the turn 3 combo deck, a card that comes down on turn 4 most of the time. sometimes turn 3, and like then we'll kill over the course of like 4 more turns. Like, what are we talking about? That's not a fast clock against the turn 3 combo deck that you can't tap out for. Yeah, but I think you as an archetype are just good against Titans, so it's not like you care that much about it being bad in the matchup. Yeah, Wimby. I could my Wimby jersey's dirty, but I wanted to wear it today. So they flash back a looting. Discard 2 more lands. They might still be holding Big Thing in their hand. I do think I want to the Deep-Fiend this turn. Maybe I want to hardcast Nulldrifter instead. Can I Nulldrifter and emerge? So this is I'm 1 short of that. I might just Deep-Fiend off the Deep-Fiend next turn. They've surveilled an Archon into the yard, though. Or maybe not though, but something to be worried about here. Alright, let's Deep-Fiend again. And tap the black sources in the frog. There's another black source. Seems like we're getting got. No, do they not have a fetchable black source? They have Watery Grave and Blood Crypt in play, so it seems like they were trying to get another black source and they just didn't have one. So here maybe we could go Hope-Ender the Persist. They spend 1, discard Nulldrifter, then sink the Archon, sacking the Hope-Ender. We could also cast Nulldrifter looking for Force of Negation, looking for Elder Deep-Fiend, or looking for K command. We have 3 K commands, 3 Force of Negations, and 2 Deep-Fiends. Right, I think I'm going to go for the Hope-Ender sync line. They graveyard and unearth. They play the Persist, and we stick to the plan. They are kind of in hardcast Archon range, aren't they? Repro Bros, the 16 months. Thank you. Welcome back. They play around Spell Pierce. They do play Spell Pierce sometimes. I feel like I haven't been playing against this deck at all. They didn't flash back the Faithless Looting, so they have something. They could also have their own sync. Maybe do they play sync? Let's take a look at a deck list. Again, I've not seen Grixis Reanimator in a while, so they're probably not going to be playing something that's exactly the last list that did well. They're probably a little bit different. Yeah, I don't even see any of it on Goldfish anymore. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, I always hate doing this. Oh, I do find one. Never mind. I do not have to use my brain. So this build has no main deck interaction, stack interaction. This build has 1 sync. This build has no main deck stack interaction. 1 main deck Flood Maw. Okay, going for it. I think playing around sync makes the most sense to me. All right. Sorry for the soul roll, opponent. Alright, so getting a Chalice on 1 and a Chalice on 2 in play seems really nice. Maybe, I don't know if I wanted to play 4 on the draw though, or 3, since we're on the draw. On the play, I would like to play more, I think. Definitely want the Surgical. You don't want to cut the Consign. Probably want the Dismember, good at killing Oculus. And sometimes you want to point it at a frog. I think on the draw we'll do 3 Chalice. -1 Seer. 4 Subtlety is a lot. Probably trimming 1 is okay. I might want it like an All is Dust also. I'm not a big fan of Force of Negation against them. I think 3 is an okay number to play. It's not. We could maybe play 1 less. I'll do 1 less Seer on the draw. Seer on the draw is also just worse. Probably want the 3rd on the play. Also kind of want the fourth Chalice on the play. So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to sideboard for game 3 if we go to game 3. Should potentially have bounced before they drew a frog. Maybe. Trying to think. I remember thinking about it. I remember choosing not to, and I don't know if I don't remember what my reason was. Might just have been the move. Not the easiest game to navigate. They get to pitch Archon to Frog for second persist. Yeah, that's something. How to get Moto to work. So the problem is not Magic Online. The problem is with AT&T Fiber, which is what I have. They're experiencing some weird outages. I believe it's related to the AWS stuff in the area, and so this is the reason why the card arts weren't loading. This is the reason why it was running so choppy this week, it seems. And so I was able to USB tether my phone to my PC. I'm using my phone's internet instead of my fiber internet that I pay a lot of money for. And it's been working pretty good today. It means no headphones for me, but it's been fine. I know we have a lot of blue cards. The consideration of Fleshmaker helps ramp, cheap thing to emerge. I think, hear me out. With all the blue cards in the deck and the relatively higher curve, I think Matter Reshaper is better than Glaring Fleshraker in this deck. We have a turn 1 Chalice. Am I going to Gemstone Caverns here? I guess so I can turn 2 Seer. Yeah, I've had a high tier of internet service on my phone, so I have the ability to do this if I am ever in a pinch like this. Although I've had issues mobile USB tethering before. Sometimes it goes fine, sometimes it doesn't. It's been a long time since I've had to do it. Probably will take the Chalice. They take the Seer instead, which is interesting. Gonna get frogged, maybe? I feel like Frog also doesn't care about Thought-Knot Seer. They'd have Meltdown. Well, they do have Meltdown. Oh no, they just mistapped. Emperor of Bones. Emperor of Bones Thought-Knot Seer. Okay, that's maybe why they did what they did. Well, deep flooded here. 5 cards in their hand. Got a lot of good top decks. They have a lot of 1-drops in their deck to have not taken the Chalice. They're like an Unearth, Thoughtseize, Thought Scour, Faithless Looting deck. They don't know about the Force either, so if somehow like they have Meltdown and they want to Meltdown this turn instead of Thought-Knot Seeing, they might get got. Why the Gorya's decks play Emperor? Why don't the Gorya's decks play Emperor? They do sometimes. I know it's not super stock at the moment. We're not playing Deep-Fiend and Beanstalk. Yeah, Deep-Fiend was actually really good in Beanstalk, I think. Just sacking like the Shardless Agents and the Bloodbraid Elves and the Omnaths, and even you would just like evoke Solitude, emerge, Deep-Fiend, draw a bunch of cards. Okay, well, I do not want them to Thought-Knot Seer my Riddler, so let's go ahead and warp it. I think they're going to end of turn put the Seer into play. Seems like I just want to play the Otawara, so if I draw a land next turn, when I cast this Quantum Riddler, I'll draw 2 cards. Kind of a scrappy game here, I guess. Do think Chalice is a bit underplayed in general. Really good deck to play Chalice in, I think. So instead of putting the Seer into play, they just cycle Unearth. That's interesting. 4 cards in their hand. Surveil, maybe they'll just hit an Archon and totally destroy me. Instead, they hit a Scalding Tarn. They spend 3 mana. Is this command? Fulminator Mage. And my Ugin's Labyrinth is foolishly tapped. I guess another Lab would be a really good draw. I could just cast the Riddler and draw 2. Opponent decides no attacks. I think they're lagging a bit, probably. Yeah, I mean, Faithful Suiting is a good card, but I do agree that the Grixis seems like noticeably worse than Esper to me. They don't want to trade to the Hope-Ender. Yeah, maybe that's it. But I'm playing pretty slow. Play Grixis RC, completely agree. Yeah, I think it's been like this for a while. It's not really... Shouldn't be too surprising at this point. Seems like they want to go for the Fulminator Mage. I think we're going to run this out. They're going to consign my Hope-Ender. It looks like they're going to replicate Consign twice here. Very weird game. Why does Esper use Breeding Pool or Hedge Maze instead of another green dual land, or is it just splitting hairs? I mean, it's mostly splitting hairs. I think it's mostly irrelevant. Yeah, I can't imagine. Prismari Command. Discarding an Archon of Cruelty with the Emperor Bones in play. So I got a couple options. I could bounce this in response to the activation, but then they can just activate again, I guess. So let's Deep-Fiend them. Another Deep-Fiend would be a pretty fun draw, although I guess we only have 1 left in the deck. Yeah, the other 2 cards in exile are both Deep-Fiends. Switched 1 to Gemstone Caverns and 1 to a Lab. They got Emperored. Yeah, I know you can bounce in response to Emperor target, but then they can activate the Emperor again. So like, it doesn't exactly feel like a winning play, you know. Spike, do you think they could ever unban Hogak? Zathis, I want you to read this comment you've left here. Spike, do you think they could unban Hogak? And I need a 200-word essay on why this was a silly thing to type. Koji, 62 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. The Archon isn't under the exile. Yeah, but they still get value off the Emperor of Bones. And so we are like 3 for 1ing ourselves still when we sink the Emperor, and they don't get the Archon, but like it is a game losing line, isn't it? Where we have some top decks here that can get us out. Still have a couple draws. We could draw the Surgical. Could draw the Dismember. Alright, let's go to game 3. Could they unban Bridge? I was pretty in favor of Bridge unban before Looting got unbanned. Now I think it may be a little scary, but would not be the worst. Okay, let's play the 4th Chalice on the play. Probably over a Talisman. I think down a Subtlety, up a Seer. Click Submit. Yeah, I think so. People also, they bring up Uro a lot. I think I would be really happy never to see an Uro unbanned. I think the Escape Titans in general are like really poorly designed. Just like the mechanic itself, like the way they just, I think Escape is just a bad mechanic. The fact that you just keep getting value over and over and over again is so miserable. Consider also the fact that Uro is much better with main deck Consign. Like, scamming an Uro is is so insane. You can do it turn 2 off of a turn 1 ramp source. You can mill over Uro with Rumble. It's all very, very scary. Another thing is like Uro would, I think, it would be like just so, it'd be so good with Riddler too. Like what are we talking about? Why? Why? We're just bored, I guess. If they escape with finality counters, that'd be better. That would be way better, yeah. If you could only escape one time, that would solve most of my problem with the mechanic. Are y'all mulliganing this? I don't think I could mulligan this. I think we can cycle the K command for 0 if we miss. Frost with the Switch Prime, thank you, welcome back. Maybe we should just I think we should probably just cycle the K command anyways if we're going to keep this hand. Escape is so close to being peak mechanic, in my opinion. The cards are just too good. I'm a big hater of a mechanic that just says, like, you can just play this card over and over and over again over the course of the game, and interaction against it is, like, it has to be very, very specific. It's kind of like when escape was a thing. I think this is kind of an invisible thing that was happening to a lot of players. But there was a clear, concerted effort from Wizards of the Coast to try to eliminate aspects of Mana Screw, Mana Flood from Magic the Gathering. The companion mechanic, the adventure mechanic, the escape mechanic all came out around the same time. I do think there's one more big one I'm forgetting, but they all came, the MDFCs from Zendikar, all were designed around the same time, all came out around the same time. And the idea is that like I think that they were trying to design Mana Screw and Mana Flood out of the game. And the idea was that you would always have these mana sinks from adventure cards. You'd have these mana sinks from companions, from escape cards. And so because you would always have these mana sinks, you would never get mana screwed because you would always end up... okay, do I force this so I can resolve the Chalice? Yes. Because you have all these mana sinks built into your deck, you're naturally going to just want to play more lands, and so it's hard to eliminate Mana Screw, but you can eliminate Mana Screw by incentivizing players to play more lands because they never run out of gas. I really think that this was something that Wizards was intentionally trying to do. I think they were intentionally trying to reduce the amount of Mana Screw, Mana Flood games that happened in Magic. I think it led to a lot of very poor design decisions, but I think that this is why they made these choices. Now they go Frog and Reset? Maybe. And maybe they'll just draw a lot of 1-drops. Chalice is so good against them. They have so many 1-mana spells. Although they have a Meltdown. Do you think they've just accepted as part of the game mostly now? I think so. I think to some extent at least. There's also just kind of the dynamic. I don't know how much I need to stress this, but like that era of War of the Spark to Call time when they were trying to have this was the fire design era. This was the worst era in Magic's history. This was not a good, like, the result of this design philosophy was not particularly productive, and so yeah, I don't think that they're super interested in going back to that design philosophy. Do they have Consign into Persist? They did discard 2 Archons. They do consign my Chalice on Tomb. Yeah, they're still doing it to some extent, but that wasn't the only problem with that era, but it was kind of more of like a symptom maybe than the cause. What's the Rocky Horror Line? The Rocky Horror Line, but not the symptom. We still have fire. Fire's a new card I don't like. Yeah, I guess we still have that. But we've always had that. Cycles and Unearth. Spike, any thoughts on the debt hitting 38 trillion? Yeah, I'm supposed to do some kind of like subathon to get that number down. They told me it was my patriotic duty, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, so this is kind of a fun top deck. Hopefully they don't hit another land and we just get to go like sink their 2-drop, win the game. Oh, yeah, I remove the cause but not the symptom. Cool. I need to work that into my vernacular. Is this an Oculus? A looting flashback, huh? Yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and sink that since I have another one in my hand. I really don't want them to find land number 4 so that my sinks are less relevant. If I had 4 blue mana, I could just sink. I'd let it go. Oh, they do have the 4th mana. Well, I guess they don't have persist in their hand, so that's something. Now we've got Force of Negation. Elder Deep-Fiend, attack. They got 5 cards in their hand. They got 4 mana. They have an Elder Deep-Fiend staring at them. Hasn't exactly seemed like they've had a persist in their hand. They do find land number 5, which kind of makes it very unlikely they have persist in their hand since they just drew this. Cracks the fetch land down to 3. Untapped Swamp. Not a lot we can do about this if they have Emperor of Bones. They'll take the sink and then we'll get got. Takes again Sharpish for the 26. Every second that passes, it's less likely my opponent is going to go Emperor Archon. Sigh, Spike, why do you hate fun? That's a good sign. That's a good sign. I Elder Deep-Fiended you. I don't know that. I can be accused of hating fun here. They take the Force of Negation. Can't beat Emperor or Persist. I mean, I could Persist. I can bounce whenever they target with a Persist, but yeah, we're not doing good against it. All right. Log match. Got there. Really liking this build. Yeah, I think he was just going through the motions. Okay, I do think we're going to mulligan this on the play in the blind. Very close hand, though. Let's keep this. I think we're going to have to put back the Subtlety. Then lead on the Sink tapped. They did? Oh, I thought they were targeting themselves for Scry, or like make a treasure draw. Watery Grave untap, so Chalice probably live here. Hello, Timo the Joker. They spell snare my Chalice. This is gonna be back to back. I guess it's not Grixis Reanimator, probably just normal frog. Takes the Talisman. If they're under City Sewers, they keep a card on top. 5 cards in their hand. Definitely feeling the mulligan on the play here. Thank you, K-Command. You were so broken. I hope to see you banned one day, but thank you for showing up. Probably want the sink so I can card cast the Lrien Revealed. And then also if I just draw Island, then it's, you know, I might just tempo with Deep-Fiend like we did last game. So they found a frog. They play a tapped Watergrave. No, yeah, I guess another Deep-Fiend. We're just going to be chaining these together. You just bottomed Island? Uh-huh. But so I don't want to draw the island, but if I do draw an island, then the sink will, I'll play the island instead of the sink, and then the sink will be better than the island I could have kept instead, right? Oh, no. Oh, close one. Well, the Bowmaster is really good against us. Guess best draw is just another Eldrazi Temple. Okay, Command Band would kill a lot of decks. Good. Alright, do I want to cycle? I guess I cycle the Lrien Revealed because they have the Bowmaster. Your deck is nothing without K-Command. You don't deserve to have it. Alright, so next turn we can hardcast this. I think that's what we're going to play too. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much Elder Deep-Fiend we do, how cool our deck is. Chat just wants to talk about bans. Although I guess I did start it. Never mind. Discards a Stern Scolding. How will they play around Hope-Ender Coatl now? Discards a Preordain. Could they be going for a Murktide? One on top, one on the bottom. They do know I have this in my hand. They might be looking for a Thoughtseize. I would get to emerge off of the Deep-Fiend, but a lot less power and toughness in play. Okay. So we draw a Lrien Revealed. So I want to bait them into chump blocking the Deep-Fiend with the Bowmaster so we can start out grinding, I think. So I'm going to tap everything besides the frog. They have a counterspell? They do have a counterspell. We might do the unthinkable and just cast it into the Bowmaster. I think we kind of have to if we don't draw anything. Alright, we didn't draw anything. I'm going to go ahead and play the Lab so that if I draw a K command off the Lrien Revealed, we can cast it this turn. Go ahead and get your 3 damage in. Am I dead? I'm down to 10. This is 4 plus, yeah, I'm dead. Alright. Going to game 2. So they're not as 1-drop heavy. I think they're still 1-drop heavy enough that, like, Chalice on 1 and Chalice on 2 is also really good against them. They don't play Oculus a lot of time. They do have Bowmaster, so I guess we'll bring in the Dismember. Going to cut the Chalice. Going to cut all the Force of Negations, I think. I think I'm going to play both All Is Dust this time. Down a Seer. Maybe I want the 4th Seer over the 4th Chalice. They're kind of better in multiples. Sure, let's do this. Well, I got 2 K commands, so I think I'll keep the hand. We do need another colorless source. They graveyard a Bowmaster. That card is really good against us. Maybe they need lands. Do you like the design of Lrien Revealed? No, I think it's too efficient, honestly. I think it's a little bit weird that like its effect is the strongest of all of the cyclers. Like I think drawing 3 is better than the 6/5 or the 3/3. Maybe not unlimited, but probably unlimited too. Like I think it probably just should have been 6 mana. I don't remember if I gave any feedback on it in consulting. I might not have been able to flag it. Well, it's a nice pickup here. I do think my opponent's gonna not crack the fetch. Does my brain work as fast in paper as it just did sideboarding? In the same scenario on paper, would it have taken more time to compute the decisions you made? I mean, it's my same brain. I don't think it's any different in paper versus Magic Online. I mean, it takes more physical time to shuffle and stuff, but I don't think the thought process is any faster. Just finished sideboarding for game 3. It's not starting. Yeah, I was having a lot of issues just because of the AWS outages are affecting my area weirdly. A good time, I think, for the honeymoon to happen. Like, we're waiting for BNR announcement, new set to come out. And we also have all these internet problems. So they didn't exactly act like they had Consign last turn when they just fetched when they knew I had K command in my hand. maybe they punted. But typically, I'd rather assume my opponent is playing well than poorly. Maybe this is playing bad into a Bowmaster. They did surveil this into the yard, but also if they just Bowmaster in response, they still have a Nulldrifter, so it's not all that bad. Yeah, so maybe they just made a mistake with the fetch. Maybe they just drew the Consign. Maybe they didn't care about K-Command. I think they won't touch Modern there. I said it. Carry on now. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that it happens. It'd be really nice if they, at the very least, unban some stuff. Hello. There's a BNR November 10th, but they discard Sauron's Ransom. There's a BNR November 10th, but I'm going to be out of town for most of that time, so kind of feels like it's about to happen. All right, so I don't want to play the Thought-Knot Seer into the Liliana Edict. Didn't think that'd be something I'm saying today. At least not if I sack the spawn. Why unban for content? One thing is in general that the modern format has been on a slow and steady improvement journey from Modern Horizons 3. Modern Horizons 3, in my opinion, was the worst thing to happen to the format while I've been streaming, at least. I think that most of the cards that ended up having a big impact were not very fun, and I just like the Nadu into Boros Energy world was really, really bad. Things have been slowly improving since the unbans. The looting, the Green Sun Zenith, the Opal stuff, like that, all that I think was really positive. And it introduced kind of a more new dynamic to the format, where the format has became a little bit more about classic old iconic cards battling against the new busted Image 3 stuff. And I thought that was kind of a good dynamic that I think would continue to be improved through future unbans. Yeah, I hope the surgery continues to, or your surgery recovery continues to go well. Right, I think I'm gonna hope into this. If they have another 2-drop, they can't play it this turn, which I think that's very likely they have one. Are there any new Avatar cards? Like I haven't. There were some. I haven't looked super closely at the set since it got spoiled, but I think there is some. Yeah. They use their last Consign, or the last card in hand, which is a Consign. And then I assume they're going to take the Riddler. And then we're kind of doing battle against this Liliana, which is pretty fun. But I like, despite Modern being, I think, good at the moment, I just also think there's a lot of room for improvement. Fun for Liliana to do so well here. So now they can make me sack my Hope-Ender. Have I thought of any Party Thresher homes? Not very much. Opal at least made Breach good enough to get banned. I think it was a combination of that, and then also like Breach. You know, I still do wonder to myself, like, would how good would have Breach been post ring ban if Opal hadn't been unbanned? I feel like it still would have been a very good deck. It was one of the best decks in the prior format too. I did have Party Thrasher in a web search draft. So they're probably gonna chump with the Bowmaster, then edict the Thought-Knot Seer with the Liliana. I guess we might as well play our island. Losing to Liliana is not the worst way to lose, huh? One card in their hand. One of the cards they drew was a Hallowed Fountain. Let's go ahead and warp the Riddler here. The thing is, Mox will continue to get better as more artifacts are printed. I agree. I agree with that statement. Okay, so this All Is Dust is a really weird draw, where I lose my Riddler. I guess I'll just cast it. I think we have the better top decks on average, right? And if their last card is like, I guess they should have consigned the Riddler ETB, but if it's a counterspell of some kind, it puts them in a weird spot. I guess not, just let it resolve. Okay. So we're in a top deck battle where we should have better top decks on average. Speak of the better top decks. No, I guess on the note of Opal getting better as they print more artifacts too, it's like there's so much good artifact hate. I know Affinity is currently good. I love when Affinity becomes a good deck in Modern. It is just, it's so nice to see stuff like Affinity rising to the top because it's just one of these decks that any deck can just choose to play a lot of really, really effective sideboard cards for. It's a deck that I really enjoy. Like I enjoy that any strategy can just come and counter it. It makes metagame evolution. It makes metagame changes easier to happen. It makes deck building more interesting in general. It makes brewing more fun. I'm a big fan when a deck that's easily countered rises to the top. All right, Sheriff Shot. They did do some thinking there. I guess I'll hold this for a Thoughtseize. Yeah, Sheriff Deep-Fiend. I guess these are outlaws in Elder Deep-Fiend's hands. Do you think the artifact lens should be unbanned? I don't think it would help improve the dynamics. I think it would, I think it would maybe push things a little bit too much. But I think the current dynamic with Mox Opal is good. I don't think we need to try to push it to the limit, if that makes sense. They've used 2 consigns already. What could they be thinking about? A good choice, opponent. I also would cast Consign to Memory here. Holding the lab to beta Thoughtseize. How many K commands do I have left? 2? Maybe it's a bit too obvious that this is a land. Shouldn't matter very much. Uh-oh. Still have 2 cards in their hand, too. Well, we're going to get some good use out of these talismans here. It came up. But they've got the counterspell. On the turn you warped Riddler, can you explain playing the land all does to hold both? Yeah, my opponent's got Liliana in their hand, or in play, and they're going to attack my hand here. I mean, we could hold both and save the all dust for the following turn. It gets really weird depending on what they draw. And I did also explain when I made the play right. I was like, my top decks are on average a lot better than my opponents, so I think it just makes sense to enter the top deck battle. And my opponent's top decks so far have, I think, been a little bit better than mine, but I would say on average, ours are just better than theirs, so seemed like a good enough reason to enter the top deck battle. And maybe I'll draw a Quantum Riddler again one day. Ooh, 2 frogs. Maybe I'll draw my second All Is Dust. Imagine Sauron's Ransom here. Wow. Thanks for working this deck last night. Today excited to play it soon. Nice. Yeah, I think I might play it again tomorrow. We'll see how the rest of today goes. So we'll see. I think their last card's probably a land. If it's not a land, they should discard it, of course. Okay, punt. Their last card was the 4th Consign. Let's go. So no Consigns left for them. They don't really have good attacks. I just keep seeing you draw these Coatls late in the game. Have they ever been the nut butt? Well, go ahead and take that term out of your vocabulary, maybe, but I don't even know what you mean when you ask, have they been the nut butt? All right, so probably going to game 3. Spike, is this card broken and destroying Modern, or a meme? Which of the two? Let me know. Play an 8/8 Murktide. Wait, they have 2 spells? You know. Dang, this was the nut butt, huh? So if I attack with everything, my opponent goes Murktide on the Seer, chumps a Coatl with the Frog, goes to 2. And then they're at 2 with me having 2 Coatls in play. Is there another block I'm not seeing? I guess it's going to be the same no matter what. Yeah, but I think putting them to 2 with me having 2 Hope-Enders and killing the Frog is worth the attack, even though it gives them the extra card. I don't think Priest of Forgotten Cards, Arena of Glory, does anything Zathis. Was not a big fan of Priest in general. Oh, they have punted. They did not fly the Frog. I think they probably just didn't realize they had a good attack. So now they go to 2, but they don't get a card, and my Seer is still alive. So this is better. Yeah, you don't have another block than that. You have to chump the Frog here. Wait, am I dead? Hold on, sorry, I forgot about the whole Frog Murktide thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, no. 3, kind of close to being dead though, but I definitely needed to do an inventory here before making this attack. This wouldn't happen in paper. It might. Like, it gets a little bit weird though, where like you go to attacks, then your opponent goes, okay, block Frog, block Murktide. Like that can just happen. And then you go, well, you didn't fly the Frog, and then they go, well, okay, we'll fly the Frog block, and then you call a judge. I guess you call a judge. The nut butt. I guess I'll warp the other evoke the other Nulldrifter, then emerge off of it. Okay, now we're going to game 3. They got 8 minutes on the clock for game 3, give or take. Thanks, Esper, for the 10 months. Judge would back up. Please stop saying that. It's you, chatters. I know. You did this to me. More Modern cards are coming to Arena via Cube. If they implement Modern on Arena, how likely would you or other Modern streamers be to switch over? I mean, I'd be open to it. I love Magic Online. We might have to put the old girl down one of these days, you know? It breaks my heart to say. Well, okay, this is not a matchup I like mulliganing in. I think we can keep this with the Dismember. It's not good enough against Frog, though. We also have K Command. We have both of our double lands are online to draw. The one thing too that would be, I think, really sad about Modern on Arena is that it wouldn't really be Modern on Arena. They will never add all of the actual Modern cards to the client. You know, they are just. It's just they're not going to add the like 20,000 random cards. They're just going to add the cards that see actual play, which is definitely really bad for me specifically because I like getting weird with it. So it would be something like pseudo Modern. You know, like it would be like an Explorer version of Modern. And then another big issue is like the rope. The way the rope currently works on Arena is really non-functional with Magic Online, I think, or was non-functional with Modern. Maybe has a Bowmaster. Could they change the rope depending on the format? Maybe. Why is the rope not compatible with Modern? The way the rope works on Arena is that if you take too long on your turn, it will pass the turn. Is my understanding. Maybe I have a misunderstanding there, but that's I'm pretty sure that's how it works, right? And so on in Modern, you're playing Storm, you're playing Titan, you're playing like Tomashi Belcher, like your big critical turn will take too long and you can't effectively combo with it. We saw Sauron's Ransom. We also have Deep-Fiend in our hands, so I think I'm going to go for the Hope-Ender here. On the upside, Titan would be unplayable. I'm just going to take one. I don't think I care that much about blocking this 1/1 here. I think I'm going to just go ahead and tax this and then like make the Elder Deep-Fiend actually something that they would consider taking off the Thoughtseize. We got 6 minutes on the clock. Probably should be enough. Titan's already unplayable if you're dumb enough. Yeah, just drink enough protein shakes and it'll take care of itself, I guess. Thank you for the 14 months. Why would they do that? I don't know. This is kind of a tough hand to see, I think. Yeah, we can do a 10-minute prediction. They need to go down a whole extra minute, but possible. Okay, just 30 seconds. Little mini prediction here. They take the K command, which is currently uncastable. Then they play an untapped Sulfuric Springs. Holding up Subtlety seems so good with like the Deep-Fiend and the Riddler in my hand. Like I just want to cast this so bad this turn. So I guess I will. All the way down to 11. Pretty good chance they've got something for this. Maybe it's a consign just for the ETB, which would be kind of a big win, I think, or a small win. 50 or 44 seconds until we get the plus 10 minutes. That was a long thing for the counterspell. It's interesting. So they might have a consign, and then I can Hope-Ender the consign. Nope. Okay, so we're gonna run this out end of turn. For the Deep-Fiend plan. Yeah, replicated copies can get through the Chalice. I think at this point we'll finally. Okay, they're discarding a Delta. Still just gonna run this out to block the 1/1. Okay, sure. Taking 3 down to 8. They've got 2 cards in their hand. Not a good draw. We might just warp the Deep-Fiend into play though. I guess we can. Okay, so if we sack right now, the Riddler is not in play when this trigger resolves, so we don't draw the extra card. But now I can go draw 3. All right, well, it's stuck. Did we get... Okay, we're still 35 seconds away for the plus 10 minutes. Strategic Betrayal. 2 cards in our opponent's hand. Seems like it's all maybe going to come down to, does this all as dust resolve? My opponent just discarded a Force of Negation. So it seems not that likely that all as dust will resolve. Cast a Preordain into the Chalice. I'm going to cast it. They can't have Force of Negation, so any other counterspell also beats these. Just has to be all as dust here. All right! Okay, getting Liliana'd. Okay, just gonna discard the Chalice to the Liliana if they don't minus, but I expect them to minus. Still not up 10 minutes, getting pretty close. I'm gonna make spawns in exile. That was almost lethal, by the way. Not quite, though. I think because I've got all the decisions left to make this game, I don't think it's very likely that we do get the plus 10 minutes, unfortunately. B4. So if I go Chalice on 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we can Chalice on 2 and Deep-Fiend. It comes at the cost of like losing a Riddler, but oh, you know what? I should just cast this Riddler. Since I have to sack the spawn, I don't want to sack the spawn into the Liliana. We got really close. We got within like 10 seconds. Yeah, I'm sorry. My opponent just has Liliana. They have no decisions. It's not too late. We're only like 30 seconds away from the plus 10 minutes here. I'm gonna try to actually win the game instead of going 2 in on the prediction sub game. Okay, there's no way I have to think here. Okay, so let's go. I think I'm gonna go face up Consign to Memory, and they're gonna pick the 3 face down, and none of these cards really do anything. Yeah. So they make me sack a creature. Then I guess they get to edict the other Riddler here. Wait, they're not gonna play the other Liliana? Oh, the Ring Bearer! "13 seconds. Just run this into the Chalice for a Quantum Riddler, pass back. We're up to 20 seconds till the 10-minute mark. Chalice check myself. Yeah, you do want to get cards out of your hand for Riddler, right? So if I cast Riddler, I do lose to Bowmaster. Kind of lose to Bowmaster if I don't, right? Losing to Bowmaster here would be crazy, but I think Bowmaster kills us no matter. Oh, we have Chalice on 2. No, sorry, Chalice on 2. All right, never mind. Locked up. Unfortunately, I think we got as close as like 10 seconds, but for the 10 minutes, but we didn't quite get there, huh? Okay, let's. Well, hold on. You know what? Well, this is a Chalice on 1 on the play. Let's go ahead and keep that. There's an Arid Mesa, so it could be Boros, could be Prowess, could be Storm, I guess. A Spoke with the 5-pack, thank you so much. If you got a gifted sub from a Spoke, make sure to thank them. Let's go ahead and draw 2 after the Nulldrifter here. Do have Subtlety up now. So Thundering Falls, implying it's Prowess. Chalice on 1, very good against Prowess. Although, they have Graveyarded a Plane, so this is probably instead of Prowess, Jeskai Energy. Which, we're not so good against at the moment. Alright, my opponent forgot to tap the extra mana for the Prismatic Ending. There's been a lot of just, like, playing into Chalice of the Void here. From opponents lately. It's been kind of funny. People just have either never played against the card before, maybe, or just do not know how to play against it. How the dogs of the storm last night? It was okay. Athena's always a little anxious when it rains. But nothing too crazy. No hand either. So we're not in the challenge at the moment. The challenge is starting in 55 minutes. We're finishing up our league from yesterday. We're starting off 2-0 in this league. Yeah, it should be Jeskai Blink, I think, with this this start here. They forgot about the Chalice. Yeah, they forgot about the Chalice as they targeted the Chalice with the Prismatic Ending. Happens to anybody. Have we really gotten to a time where people forgot about it? There were like an unbelievable amount of misplays against Chalice yesterday. People have not been playing Chalice despite Chalice being really good. Yeah, the Jeskai deck does main deck a bunch of consigns. They do know how to replicate through at least. So we could cycle Lrien Revealed and hold up Subtlety. We could. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then we could maybe like hardcast Quantum Riddler next turn. Maybe set up to Elder Deep-Fiend. Romano with the 34 months. Hope that you're doing well today, my friend. Welcome back. Opponent passes back here. I think I'm going to run the Subtlety out. Protected from discharge. Kind of want the creature in play for the Deep-Fiend anyways. We do draw another Deep-Fiend. So it costs 3 mana to emerge the Deep-Fiend off of the Subtlety. I'm going to get maybe a little greedy, and I'm going to try to draw a land off this Nulldrifter. Maybe they'll consign, but okay, we do draw the land. Also have a Force of Negation. I do think I'm going to just try to tap their lands here. I guess we'll tap the Felia. Felia is pretty annoying against the Chalice. They can unlock it. Be really bad if they have another Consign in their hand. Although I guess maybe we could force some negation. Depending on how many times they replicate. You can emerge Deep-Fiend off an Evoke Drifter, but you have to do it main phase, of course. But that is something that comes up sometimes. Interesting that they're using the Riddler when they've got the Felly in play. Maybe they are trying to unlock some things here. Yeah, I think we're going to go Seer, attack for 5, then Deep-Fiend again, probably. Yeah, let's take the Flage. Tap 3 lands again. If they want to spend 2 mana to Riddle, that's okay. Really liking this Jeskai deck being as popular as it is. I think it's just one of these decks that I enjoy being popular and good at the metagame. It's just not one that's too tough to defeat, I think. You get to play like a really thoughtful game of Magic against them too. Might as well tap the blue sources since we know they're on the Riddler here. Make them fetch shock with the Flooded Strand, maybe. Also have Force of Negation up. Can't ephemerate because of the Chalice, of course. We could Deep-Fiend again off of this one here. Okay, so we're up a game against Jeskai Blink. Chalice at 1 is kind of interesting. It does stop a lot of their cards, but they are like a Teferi Prismatic Ending Felia deck, so that's a bit tough. I could see the Dress Downs being pretty good. Dress Down is like kind of an okay response to a Warped Riddler. It stops Solitude ETB, can kind of counter Solitude Ephemerate. I do think I want the Allah's Dusts. I think I want the Dress Downs. I think I don't want the Force of Negations. Like, moving away from Force and Consign, and the Consign, it's kind of interesting because this is going to allow us to be a little bit, to care less a little bit about Teferi. They'll play 1 Dismember, 1 Chalice. They should have ephemerated anyway to draw the extra card. That's fair, then try to draw like Solitude white card. Alright, up a game against Jeskai. Alright, nice to have a turn 1 Talisman. Am I going to Subtlety or Ragavan? Maybe. I guess yes is the answer to that question. Be interesting to see if they put this on the top or the bottom. Playing a Gruul Karn deck with Fanatic Coronas. I'm struggling to figure out if cards like Chalice, Damping Sphere, and Trinus are actually well positioned in the Karn board or just jamming Vexing Baubles better. Well, I mean, Chalice is pretty important against Prowess. I'll say that I typically don't like playing Karn if my only source of big mana is Fanatic of Coronas. It's just not like really reliable enough in my opinion. So for whatever that's worth. Okay, so we can go Talisman this turn, then maybe next turn Hardcast Lrien Revealed. So yeah, I guess I just mostly wouldn't recommend playing it, but all of those cards have a place. I don't think I'd play Damping Sphere and Trinisphere together probably, or all three of those, you know. Okay, so they main phase Surgical to Subtlety, trying to get a little peek at my hand. You're currently 2-0 or 3. We're currently 2-0. 2-0 up a game. Record is always off. I guess we could maybe put the text up. Alright, so my opponent decides not to play anything this turn. Hope-Ender ending their hope. Yeah, I thought Gataxian Probe was banned. Let me see if I can pull up the manual record just for this league. I think it's probably a good size. So my opponent is doing nothing, it seems. Am I going to slam the Lrien Revealed? Maybe. I think let's do it. You want to play the Sync tapped? I think we might end up using it as a removal. Play the Temple this turn. See if they have the Felia. Although if they had Felia, I feel like would they have? They have not played it here. Alright, let's see if they have the Riddler. They do have the Riddler. Pretty good. 6 cards in their hand over there. So we could put the Nulldrifter into our hand, cast Dress Down, warp the evoke the Nulldrifter. We could also Thought-Knot Seer with any 3 of these up. I think I'd like to do that. And then maybe I'll end up putting this into my hand in a turn. Alright, so my opponent has no third land, of course. They have a Consign, a Fable, a Flage, a Prismatic Ending, a Ragavan, and a Teferi. Probably should take the Consign since they're so 3-drop flooded here. What else should I do? Should I sink the Felia? I think yes. They don't have any white mana, funny enough. Take Monkey or Consign. I think taking Monkey doesn't make a lot of sense, so let's take the Consign. Monkey could generate the more mana. Well, I've got a blocker in play that they don't have an answer for. So they drew their third land. It's an island, so they can play the Fable. Would have been nice to have in some hope here. So they are going to discard the Flage. They would just let this trigger resolve. So they discard Flage, Prismatic Ending. And his Ragavan Teferi 4 mystery cards. So are they going to... Oh, they have a Charmal here. So probably wise to use the cake... Or sorry, the dress down first. Now, I think that this still has haste. I know it's a little bit weird. We draw Sink. Yeah, it does have haste. None of these have flying, though. So let's go to combat, since this doesn't make a treasure token anymore. Wow, no attacks. Was that on purpose? I don't know. I'm going to, I think, make spawns and scry draw. I can't get rid of one of the 5-drops. Looking for some Deep-Fiends, I think. There's a Deep-Fiend. There's a Nulldrifter, too. Probably not going to be able to Lrien Revealed. I do think I'm interested in keeping both of these. And then they, end of turn, Solitude pitching Ophelia, so their hand is still Ragavan Teferi, 2 mystery cards. They exile my Thought-Knot Seer. Gain some life, up to 14. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 4, 12, maybe 13 mana. Seems like I'm interested in... Okay, so sorry, I have 13. This plus 6 is 14, so 13 if I play the Sink. Yeah, I do think holding up the Hope-Ender is going to be good here. I think I want to hold the Sink also, so let's hardcast Nulldrifter and then emerge Fiend on their upkeep. Is that more mana efficient? So that's, I could go, instead of spending 8 here, I could spend 7 then 2, so that's 9. And then I guess I could, that would also let me hold up the Hope-Ender if I play the Sink. Okay, I guess that's probably a bit better. Because then I could also maybe draw a different land and then hold the Sink too. Okay, I don't though. Wait, I thought they left a Subtlety in the deck? Oh, I have enough, sorry, I don't need to play the Sink. Okay, that's good. So there's Ragavan Teferi, 2 mystery cards. One, two, three, 4, I think. I don't exactly love letting them get white mana with this Shaman token, but I don't think they're going to be making an attack with it often enough. Hopefully they didn't find a Consign. They are floating a blue. They Consign to target the Deep-Fiend ability. Not replicating because they know I have the Sink. So gotta let that go. They get to flip the Fable. Go into combat. Interesting that they're getting in with the Shaman token. Let's block. Their hand is again Ragavan Teferi, 2 mystery cards. They know about my Hope-Ender. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be content to trade the Hope-Ender for the treasure token, maybe cut them off the white mana, get a flyer and play is good. Although we do go down to 4, so either flyer is lethal. Interesting they didn't play this land first. They have a Teferi, so maybe we can try to keep Subtlety sync up for the Teferi. Another Hope-Ender is interesting. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 mana. So I could exile a 5-drop. Seems a bit risky. Well, seems a bit tough here. I could maybe go exile the Reflection, and then I could sync. I could sync one of these, but then I don't have Subtlety up for Teferi. Thank you, Panda. Thank you for Cypher. Thank you, Link, for the 7-month watch streak. This is a tough spot. I might just want to like dig for another Elder Deep-Fiend. Just go all in on finding a Deep-Fiend. Can I go not all in? Not really, right? Although I think I probably should be. I think I should actually just be Scrydraw exiling the Reflection every single time. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just commit to finding a Deep-Fiend here. I don't really feel like I'm winning this game often enough if I don't find it. We do find one. So I could keep a K command for next turn. That seems tough to say no to. So now we want to get in for 7. They chump block. First neighbor, 1 mil, no gambling required. 1 mod sword in there. Thank you. Congratulations. Welcome to the party. Unfortunately, the chat is a bit too well behaved for you to have a lot to do. Alright, so then Teferi mystery card, then another mystery card after they draw. Sort of still in the fire, but not out of the frying pan yet. Let's not Subtlety, Quantum Riddler. If the 2 mystery cards are land ephemerate, we can scream mentally. There's a land. Not an ephemerate, though. So I imagine that the plan should just be to pass. Maybe I don't think I'm going to want to play the sync. Let's see. So K command X equals 5 is 1. Oh, I can't play the sync untapped. Okay. So let's just attack for 5 and pass. See what they do. If they play the Teferi main phase 1, we can maybe evoke Subtlety, maybe not. Maybe K command. I guess actually maybe I'm thinking of this wrong. Oh, they also I forgot about I missed the Flage. So sorry. I do need to think a bit more about that. Okay, I thought they were going to fetch a Surveil land. They didn't. Maybe I got by this too. Seems like I want to go. Yeah, I probably should have main phase. I just thought they were going to fetch. I guess I don't care very much if they escape the Flage. We can also respond to them cracking the fetch if we really want to, but we just Subtlety the Flage. Do you have any mulligan advice for the VV Cauldron deck? You probably don't want to mulligan as aggressively as you might think, because the VV Cauldron deck has so much like card selection. Great first match today. We are still up a game, right? Yeah. I wonder if we should. I don't think we can't really beat Consign no matter what. If they have the if that's like the one, if that's the one mystery card here. I guess one thing we could do is could we employ an old legacy trick? So we could Hope-Ender the Flage. We could Hope-Ender the Flage. Okay, maybe we go evoke Subtlety. Wait, no, I had it, then I lost it. So we go Hope-Ender the Flage. They pay 1 off the island. And then we can evoke Subtlety, and then they can't consign because they won't be able to fetch shock, and I don't think they play a second basic island. Then if they fetch in response, to the Hope-Ender to get an island to pay there, there's not really much we can do, right? I guess we could sink at that point. Okay, I think let's go ahead and cast the Hope-Ender. I think this plays around the Consign the best. Do we know they have Consign? We don't know they have Consign. We know their hand is Teferi Mystery card, but it seems like this is a line that can play around Consign being the last card. Because I think they're gonna go get a basic mountain, then play it tapped, or then pay. Okay, and then this resolves, and then they're doing this so that they can hold up the Consign. And so to play around Consign, we bounce the Flage back to their hand instead of Subtlety. Seemed like the right play. It does seem like the last card's Consign. Cool. I don't know, maybe I was overthinking it there. Kind of seemed like the only thing we lost to is Consign, right? So definitely was right, I think, to just take a moment to see how we could beat it. Alright, keeping this on the play. Round number 4 of this league. Yeah, wedding is this weekend. Thank you, Quack Attacks. Wedding is on Sunday. Rehearsals tomorrow. Honeymoon. We leave on Tuesday. I might stream Monday. I don't really have anything planned for Monday besides pack my suitcase. So, I if I'm bored or if I have nothing else to do, I'll stream. If I'm tired, I won't. I don't really expect to be tired though, but who knows. Okay, so my opponent's on Flooded Strand Go. I think I'm going to hold up the K command now that I drew it, although I was going to warp the Riddler if I didn't. I think I do want to imprint if I draw an imprintable here. Can maybe hardcast the Riddler next turn. Could maybe have been better to hold up K command for Felia. I think this is okay. Especially with Subtlety in our hand. It's a special time you rarely get all your loved ones in the same place at maximum times within the round. I don't think on Monday there's going to be any hangout time available, but if there is, I'll try to take advantage of it. Just tentative. Okay, so we could take the Fable. And then Subtlety the Riddler. I guess the problem with that is they can Consign. So we'll take the Consign. Back-to-back Jeskai Blink. Definitely been a really popular deck. Good deck for sure. How does Eldrazi ramp ever beat Titan? I'm curious. Well, this deck is a Subtlety sink into the Stupor deck. So I think most normal Eldrazi builds don't. Like the matchup win percentage is like abysmal, especially for the Tron variants. The green builds have a little bit more like Disenchants and like Sowing Mycospawn, that kind of stuff. But yeah, for the most part, the answer is that's the neat part. You don't, but this build actually can. So I think we're gonna go make spawns, then warp the Riddler, exile the Felia. This is really bad, I guess, if they top decked Ephemerate. So some like Titan player or Eldrazi, green red Eldrazi will sideboard Blood Moon or Magus of the Moon in their Eldrazi deck because that's how bad the matchup is. It would be nice if we drew a blue card for Force, then force the Fable, then hardcast the Riddler next turn. I guess now we can Force or Subtlety. And it says, what is this shit again, assuming? Alright, up a game. You know, this Jeskai deck has been really popular. I've really, again, enjoyed playing against it a lot. Yeah, I think instead of trying to force the Teferis, I think it just having Consign as my only card that gets like super stopped by Teferi. Deep-Fiend to some extent too. We have Subtlety for Teferi. They only have like 2. I think it's okay. I think this is a good sideboard plan. But not a fan of the deck. I recognize their opponent's name. I think they're a fan in general. I think they're doing a bit of banter. I'm glad to have tested this matchup a little bit more too. Just like if this matchup is good and our prowess matchup is good and our Titan matchup is good, this is, I think, a good choice for today. Do you think Jeskai will be a meta problem or just a phase? I think Jeskai being a top deck in Modern right now is a very good sign. I think that like it being at top of the meta, I really would doubt it's gonna last an extended period of time. It does seem to have a bad Titan matchup. I was looking at the Karsten metagame. So we'll see how that develops. I guess I'm going to put back the Deep-Fiend. Yeah. We'll see how that develops. Does seem to have a bad Titan matchup. We might have a very painful turn 1 if they Ragavan. They don't, thankfully. I'm just going to play this tapped. I think Jeskai, when Jeskai is a top deck, I'm pretty happy with it. I think that it's a sign of a healthy metagame. I don't think that this Jeskai deck is going to be like this big dominant force that it's just the biggest headache to play metagame against. Generally happy that it is doing as well as it is. Ouchie. You said the same about Boros Energy? What of the words that I just said was the same about Boros Energy? Which words? And when did I say it? Parentheses, I don't think you said it. Yeah, I don't think I did either. Thank you. Quick question. I'm playing your humans deck. I cannot get enough Reckies. What would you play instead? How many Reckies do you got? There's a lot of options. You can play... Okay, I was hoping to draw my land for the Deep-Fiend. I guess I'm just going to warp or evoke this. I have 0. The Reckies are really important for the combo, for the deck. Do you think Riddler will be problematic for the meta? Maybe. Riddler is the best card draw, engine, spell, whatever in the format, and so like I do think that there is something kind of inherently problematic when there's like a de facto best card draw spell. I'm having fun. It's a card I really like, so I have a hard time separating the art from the artist, as it were. Let's go. We need to hit some lands. Okay, hit a land. I'm going to go, I think, just main phase, exile the Flays, scry draw. I'm still thinking about what you would cut the Reckies for. You can look at... We did play a version without Recki really early into the humans deck. You could play that. You could play Jackal, the Spider-Man card. That would probably be a pretty good option. I already have a Subtlety. I think I'm going to bottom this. Another Subtlety is kind of okay. All the pitch cards play so well with the Riddler, too. Well, not so good against the Vexing Bauble. It's okay. They are holding up Felia mana. I think I'm going to just hold up the Subtlety, especially because I want to sack it to the Deep-Fiend. If I recall correctly, you said Boros was exploitable pre-Slend early, wondering change your mind after second consecutive challenge deck dominated. Yeah, that might have happened. Sounds kind of true. And like it was true to some extent, right? Like Boros Energy was exploitable because like you could just play these really linear combo decks like Storm and Titan, Belcher and you could be really good in the matchup, but it ended up becoming a pretty tiresome deck to remain as popular and as dominant as it was for as long as it was. Is, I guess, kind of a different build now. All right, let's cast this. Disputed. I think I'm gonna warp or evoke the subtlety here. Oko wouldn't even be broken. I kind of agree. It would be good. It would be definitely a modern staple. But although another thing too is like Oko was never as dominant in modern as it was in other formats, and I think that it just never really was. So they graveyarded the Arena. Arena could be like really crazy if they had Riddler to go with the Felia. They find a really, really good Charmal though. They did keep the Felia on top. Probably gonna go to game 3. That was I don't know how often I'm beating this Charmal. Although when Oko was legal too, like there was so much broken stuff. So gonna Solitude. So the good news about Solitude is if I draw a land, I can Thought-Knot Seer the Felia, because Felia, Charmal, Felia Solitude is not really beatable, and then maybe I can draw another land and then Riddler. Okay. Got a plan. So they got 3 cards in their hand. We're probably going to take the Felia. Maybe the rest of their hand will be really, really strong. But if not, we've got a Riddler here. I think they have a Riddler in Warp 2, though. Yeah, they do. Uro's fighting up an Oko. So this is kind of funny because Uro was always the better of the 2 cards in Modern. Uro was always better than Oko in Modern. And Uro has gotten, I think, between the two, Uro is the one that I think has gotten more clearly better than Oko. Where now you have Consign and you have Rumble that are so insane with Uro. Where like what has buffed Oko? Like nothing, because Oko's just kind of good with itself. All right, they flip over an All Is Dust with the Ragavan. I'm so glad Spike bid on this. Damn it. All right, probably not beating the Flage in the yard. I guess I'll draw 2 cards. Maybe K Command. I don't think K Command Temple does it. So it's pretty close to K Command Temple. Yeah, I mean I can exile the Flage and then I can exile the Ragavan, but I take 7. Or if I make a spawn to block this, I take 6. So I guess if this was Temple instead of Labyrinth, I could technically make 2 spawns and live, but probably wouldn't be winning anyways. Let's go to game 3 on the play. All right, keep this config, I think, on the play. I've already played Noring, as you're already playing Noring. I guess that's probably a stupid Omen Path thing. Have I considered playing, or Norin? Have I considered playing Genesis Chamber? I don't think Genesis Chamber does anything really. Like I would like just making a bunch of random non-human 1/1s seems uninteresting. I guess they are historic for Arbaz. All right, can't keep double Lrien Revealed. We have a sink. Unfortunately, just have to go to 5. Wow, non-functional. Go to 4. This sucks. Pretty good 4 though. We are a Quantum Riddler deck, of course. So I think our 4-card hand is going to be Lab, All Is Dust, Talisman, Lrien Revealed, maybe Subtlety, maybe Hope-Ender. I think it probably just needs to be the Lrien Revealed. Why not Surgical for Flage? You have K commands and Subtlety. I don't think I'm that worried about it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this now so that one of our 4 Subtleties could be a nice 2-for-1 top deck. We're looking to draw Riddler, Nulldrifter, K command, Subtlety. Nice. That was on the list. Okay. Roll to 4, easy peasy. Okay, Surveil a Flage in the yard. Specifically got a Consign, so I think playing the Subtlety here probably makes some sense. Be a fun multi-4 to win. Hit them down to 15. No way. This is crazy that we get to go. That this is like our third or fourth 2-for-1. I guess this one wasn't really a 2-for-1. And then I guess also like they surveilled the Flage into the yard. Still. Yeah, I think we got to keep that. Okay, your turn. Got 6 cards in your hand still. I only have 1, so still not doing very well. Fair enough. Can try to set up for this All's Dust maybe. Get like more of a board stall in play. Alright, Multifor, too weak. Probably. Yeah, I guess we could just draw a Riddler, actually. They bounced my Subtlety. Alright, maybe I was quitting a little early. Draw 3. Challenge starting in 11 minutes. Six cards in their hand. Ugh. Alright, I yield. I yield. Okay, so 3-1. Beat Just Guy, lost to Just Guy. Let's pay out the doubters. We can do a 4-1 prediction when we come back to this. Challenge is starting in 9 minutes, so let's not do another league here. If anybody's got any decks or anything they want me to look at, now's a good time. Okay, keeping this on the draw would be obviously a lot better on the play. Is it Just Guy deck that good? It's good for sure, yeah. As far as that good, like I don't think it's going to be the kind of deck that ends up lasting a super long time as a dominant deck. I think that we're entering a metagame change where Jeskai is really good at the metagame and it's doing well. Bobo Baggins, the 5-pack, thank you so much. Got a gifted sub. Make sure to thank Bobo Baggins. Be eating good this honeymoon. So we're probably up against Neoform. I guess I'll play the Thought-Knot Seer. Living End. I'm glad Just Guy's doing so well. I think it's a deck that I really like that is doing this well. They have 2 agents. Wow. I guess we'll take the Subtlety and then try to beat 2 Curator of Mysteries. Does you guys have a bad matchup? According to Frank Karsten, it's bad against Titan. It was like 38%, I think, against Titan, or at least like over the last couple RCs. It's just no matter what, Amulet is just great against the best deck. I think I'm gonna trade a Hope-Ender for an agent. Right on time, Force of Negation, huh? Yeah, those Brave Amulet players do sometimes have to expose the Amulet, so should we go easy on them. What is a good matchup against Titan? Frog, Merfolk, Mill. Most, guess it's pretty awkward this isn't a blue source for us to just hardcast the Riddler, since they have the Subtlety on top. Maybe we'll find like a K commander, Thought-Knot Seer. Nice. Although I guess the big problem is that, yeah, I kind of have to go for the Elder Deep-Fiend next turn. So if I go put this in hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Maybe I should have kept this. I should have kept the sync. Probably it's kind of painful though. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I don't. I think for some reason I actually counted the Labyrinth for the mana. I made a note not to and then did. Yeah, Simic Ritual is good against it. You just decks that are all counter magic. 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, if I had a blue, I could go maybe Riddler plus Hope-Ender. We're dead. That's okay. We're gonna bring in the extra chalices. Gonna bring in, I think, the All is Dusts. The fourth Force. Subtlety is good against them. Consign is good against them. Okay, we are like stocked for this matchup. I think I'm gonna trim a Talisman. I'm gonna cut the Seers. Hard to tap out for. Bad against Subtlety. It's maybe too many chalices. It's weird to say, but like 4 chalice, 4 consign is like maybe just too many, and 4 forest just too many anti-living and stuff. Why is subtlety good? They're really in on their own subtleties, and they also start hard casting 4, 5, 6 mana spells, and subtlety is good against those. So, subtlety is like, let me cut the All is Dusts. I think subtlety like is, it's not good against specifically the living end plan unless it stops the endurance shuffling your stuff in the yard. But besides that, it's good against the rest of their deck, and our deck is really good at stopping the living end plan, so we need to not be dying to the rest of the stuff. Right. Once on a Multiform. Knowing that Jeskai players can sideboard versus Amulet too. How are, okay, go to game 3. So how are the Jeskai players gonna sideboard for Amulet? What's the plan? It's like all of the sideboard cards that Jeskai can play, all the sideboard cards Jeskai can play are like 3 mana, right? Like the Charmalls are not that good. They don't have enough blue cards for subtlety. What is the plan? This is sort of one of my big critiques for Amulet is that it is not a deck that you can just sideboard and beat with whatever you're playing. You have to have a big stuff. Charmal. They already play 4 Charmal. Charmal is not that good against Titan. They currently play 4 Charmal on the sideboard, and they currently have a 38% win rate against Titan. Yeah, Charmal and Phantom. These cards are not very good against Amulet. They are okay. They can supplement your game plan, but they can't be your main game plan. Got a mulligan because of the Revealed being our only land. His hand's not so good. I think we probably keep on 6 on the draw. Let's put back the second Deep-Fiend. Yeah, so you can play Ashiok again, and then structurally the big problem is that Ashiok being 3 mana is just too slow in a lot of games. That is your best option, is to play Ashiok for sure. And Ragavan helps some too. So I do think Ashiok can help. How many Ashioks do you play? You're sacrificing points in other matchups, of course. But I'm just trying to challenge a little bit the idea that, you know, Titan's a bad matchup, Jeskai could just sideboard for it. It's not nearly as simple as that. Could consign that. It's not. It's also okay if Jeskai can't beat Titan consistently. Yeah, I think I agree that it's okay that like a deck can have a bad matchup. I just think that again, structurally it's an issue that the interactive deck has a difficult time like sideboarding effectively against one of the linear strategies. Okay, they boarded into Inevitable Betrayal and they suspended it. I guess we can consign it when it comes down. Yeah, found one of these. So anyway, so I just, again, I wanted to, you know, have this be like a little bit of a like, you know, it is how does Jeskai adapt? It's possible they can adapt, but it just isn't as easy as you might think. Why the hell would they consign a talisman? Well, I was thinking about consigning a talisman since them stealing it. This means that they were really likely were stuck on lands. Like they do only have 3 lands here. It's just how they interact. Titan still absolutely folds to the good interaction. You know, I'm gonna push back on this. The thing is, you say it absolutely folds to the good interaction. Titan is very good against Blood Moon. Cards like Ashiok and Harbinger are tougher for them to deal with. However, because they're 3 mana, and Titan is a deck that can win on turn 2, but you know, turn 3 very rarely, turn 3 really consistently. You can't mulligan to your 3 mana sideboard card on the draw. So to say that it just folds, I think is, you know, is tough. So like the good interaction being like Subtlety and Counterspell, I guess it you know, you can fight through Counterspell and Subtleties, but like Subtlety is kind of like really the only like super premium anti-Titan card, I think. Like the only like really effective form of interaction against them. To say that it folds against the good interaction, I think is just like, I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. Ooh, open to Consign. It's like 20 ticks. That's nice. Blood Moon is good against Titan, but it's very fragile to the removal. It isn't a reliable plan to beat them consistently. And it's also 3 mana. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so 10 matches still in progress here.